All right, we're rolling.
Okay. Hi. Thanks for being here.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
So tell me, who are you?
I'm Elise Higgins, they, them, Aquarius, Pisces, cusp.
Okay.
And
I'm a cusp too.
Oh, incredible. Of what?
Yeah. Gemini Cancer.
Ooh, chaotic and exciting. I love that.
Yeah.
So I live here in Lawrence, and I'm the executive director of a brand new organization called Kansas for All.
Okay.
Which your household has made incredible content for already.
Thanks. Yeah,
so,
I'm a brand new member.
Shout out. We do Lebanon, you're, sort of our leader now because, wow, that video of mowing has gotten thousands of views. Incredible work.
Thank you.
Anyway, so yeah, we're an organization that's about doing long-term, year-round organizing and power building so that working Kansans can eventually take over the state and take seats in the legislature and make Kansas actually work for poor and working class people. But right now, one of our big focuses is the constitutional amendment that's coming up, which is so, oh my God, it's so boring on its face, right?
Yeah.
Because it's about judicial process.
Right.
And that's, no one ever thinks or talks about that in the regular life. Basically what it is that we have this impartial process right now where the governor gets a group of qualified nominees from an independent organization. And then from those, she chooses one and they're on the Supreme Court. Right? What conservatives are trying to do is make this so that there's no independent body, there's no impartial moment. It's actually all completely politicized and judges run like politicians, right? Supreme Court justices would get elected in partisan elections with unlimited campaign spending.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard in Wisconsin, did you remember hearing about anything happening in Wisconsin with their Supreme Court?
No.
Okay. It was bonkers. Elon Musk dropped $40 million to try to prevent this pro-abortion rights nominee for the state Supreme Court from being elected. And it actually didn't work because Wisconsinites hate Elon Musk just like everyone else.
Yeah.
But we genuinely are facing that in Kansas if this initiative wins.
Yeah.
And the reason that it's happening too is a lot because of abortion, which I would love to talk to you more about, but let me pause.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are there already big billionaire backers involved in this? And if so, can you name names?
Well, I can only speculate, but I will say that the Koch brothers, right, are based in Kansas. They're some of the wealthiest people in the world. And they historically have backed conservative candidates for office.
Yeah.
There's also super conservative, social organizations. We've all heard of Focus on the Family.
Right.
They have a little outpost in Kansas called the Family Policy Alliance. And it's basically their lobbying arm in the state. So they and the big anti-abortion organization, Kansans for Life, their political action committee has big money invested in this. The Catholic Church has big money invested in this, big money. So I think we can expect to see millions of dollars spent trying to get us to have partisan, judges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just side note, in college, I went to KU.
Love.
And I lived in a scholarship hall my freshman year.
Same. Which one?
Sellards.
Okay. Margaret Amini.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So my roommate in Sellards was president of the anti-abortion club at KU. Yeah.
Stop. Who? Do you remember?
Her name was Emily.
Okay. I was just going to see if she was related to Sam Brownback, but no.
No, I don't think so. She was a born again Catholic, which is really crazy if you're only 20 to already be that.
It's a lot of times being born for 2 decades on the earth. For sure.
Yeah. So she, so one day I came home wasted and I cornered my RA and was like, why did you pair me with her? And she was like, because I didn't, they had us fill out all this paperwork and questionnaires and stuff. And
I remember that.
I was like, why did you even have us do that if you were just going to put me with somebody like that? And she was like, do you really want to know? I was like, yeah. And she goes, I couldn't pair her with a returning resident because nobody was willing to live with her. And out of all the incoming freshmen, you were the one that seemed the most open-minded. And I was like, fucked over for being the chill one again.
Not again.
So anyway, I am quite familiar with that organization.
You know about it. Absolutely.
I do.
Yes.
And we got into it sometimes in the room.
Good for you. Good for you. I hope that she is doing well and no longer trying to tell folks what they can and can't do with their bodies.
Unlikely, but well, never say never.
We can be born again a third time, maybe.
Maybe she saw my video.
Absolutely. If you're watching, Emily, we're here for you. Yeah, reach out.
We're here, please.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, so that's who's financing this,
right?
And okay, so I can understand intellectually why abortion obsessives are gung-ho about this, because they think because their hyperfixation issue is more important to them than like democracy, and
certainly
like they don't care that the majority is against them. It actually like fuels them, this like persecution complex. Why do billionaires want it?
Control. I feel if billionaires, like if justices in the Kansas Supreme Court feel a sense of obligation or gratitude to billionaires, then they're likely to rule when there are lawsuits about the limitations of what businesses can and can't do.
Sure.
They're more likely to rule in their favor, right? It makes me think about Alito, right? Is the justice that accepted like, oh wait, no, is it Alito? Who's the Supreme Court justice that accepted like wild gifts from billionaires and then like ruled on their behalf essentially? Well, basically we see this playing out
all
in the US. Sure. And that's true. And that's important to say. But we see this playing out at the national level too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like issues around businesses also touch so much, right? Like how we treat like undocumented workers, right? Workers' rights around pay and compensation when they are injured on the job, and like a lot of stuff touches rulings that might have to do with businesses, because it's people's livings,
environmental
for sure
protections and deregulation and stuff like that. Okay, so they're just playing the long game for just unchecked capitalism.
That's right. And it's important to say too that like right now the Kansas Supreme Court, it genuinely is impartial, right? Like sometimes they have ruled for Republican governors and like in support of Republican policies, and sometimes they rule in support of Democratic policies, right? Like yes, they ruled that there's a right to abortion, and they also have ruled that there is not an inherent right to vote in the state constitution. So I'm not saying that they're like progressive saviors, but I am saying that they are 100% better than people who are bought by billionaires.
Sure.
Than people who are bought by churches to be, like the highest like legal body in the state. You know what I mean?
And they are like, the Kansas Supreme Court has a high level of public trust.
For sure.
Which states like I grew up in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And, states like Texas, Louisiana, like there is extremely low public trust in their Supreme Courts because they are, able to be bought by companies. Like in Texas, there's all these famous cases of oil companies, like very clearly just paying for rulings.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, over the years completely eroded public trust in the justice system. And then, it's like, if we don't have that, then what do we what do we possibly have?
Absolutely.
You know?
It starts to get pretty nihilistic. And I think we're, again, like seeing that right now with the U.S. Supreme Court. But that's not what the Kansas Supreme Court is like. You know what I mean? It is genuinely impartial, and the people are qualified, and they're picked by this body that's like outside of politics. It's called the Judicial Nominating Commission. Anyway, there's something I wanted to say too, because people who want this constitutional amendment, right? They've got signs everywhere, even here in Lawrence, that say, choose democracy, like elect our judges. And I want to say right now that that's bullshit, because we already vote on whether or not to keep our justices.
Right.
Like, democracy is very much a part of the equation. Once a justice is appointed, then they're up for retention in every election, right? And they're staggered, right? So that there's still some continuation of knowledge on the court. And most people like the job that they're doing, right? It's not like there's some massive movement of people being like, we need a new state Supreme Court. It's really just this conservative niche of people and business interests that are like, well, we hate abortion and we want more control over, our justice system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else are you guys working on at Kansas for All?
So thank you for asking. We are working on building up our chapters in Lawrence and Emporia and Manhattan and Salina. So these are cities where we have like friends and comrades and colleagues whose organizations and whose organizing work is not getting a ton of investment from statewide organizations, right? Like, when we're thinking about big statewide campaigns, we're mostly talking about, Kansas City, Johnson County, Wichita, Lawrence, and sometimes Topeka too. But those are like the major media markets, and those are the places that have, the highest populations. But these cities that I just named, other than Lawrence, are sort of like sleeper cells for progressive change. You know what I mean? Like, a couple of those cities, have voted for Trump consistently, but they also voted against the anti-abortion constitutional amendment. You know what I mean? Like, they may have a majority of Republican voters, but they're also showing up to vote for Governor Laura Kelly. Like, they're very much cities in transition, cities that are open, cities that just lack a ton of organizing capacity. And so we're building chapters in those cities of people who are ready to learn how to organize, how to learn how to be politically powerful with a group of like-minded people. And what we're really building towards is having a massive campaign in support of public education. Because, public education is one of the core issues that the majority of Kansans really care about. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like the bedrock of our society, and it is under threat in such a huge, like, existential way. So there was this Supreme Court, speaking of the state Supreme Court, there was this state Supreme Court ruling that said that the Kansas legislature has to spend like a minimal amount per student, right? They were like, you cannot go below this dollar amount per student. This is what is just and equitable for all students to be able to access a good public education. The ruling was called Gannon. The point is that ruling is actually sunsetting this year. So as of next year, there's going to be no minimum dollar amount per student, which is dangerous because the legislature has already been trying to undermine and eliminate and control public education through, voucher programs and attacking teachers and coming after sex ed and trans kids and like the teaching of Black history. And without these guardrails in place, I think we're looking at like a public education system that could be unrecognizable. And so it's going to require a massive amount of organized people, not just showing up in Topeka, but going door to door, right? Like talking to neighbors, talking to legislators all the time. It's going to have to be a huge campaign, and we're up for it. We're ready. We're training people in these cities, and we're going to be, of course, working with teachers unions to make sure that public education is like transformed and accessible and, ready to meet the moment of what kids need in the state.
Yeah. So do you guys work with like working families or DSA? Like, how do you fit into kind of existing progressive movements?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Love Working Families Party, and they don't really have an outpost in Kansas yet. We work, like a lot of folks who are in Lawrence DSA, for example, are also people who are canvassing with us right now. And that I think is going to be the case in, Manhattan, and is already the case in Salina, and Emporia. And how we fit in is that we are really focused on training people how to be organizers, regardless of what organization might be their like original political home or whatever other volunteer commitments that they might have. If you are a member of Kansas for All, you're going to learn a little bit about where we're coming from, right? Why we believe that organizing massive groups of people is the only thing that can really transform our institutions. You're going to learn about why we give a shit about public education. And you're going to learn how to organize other people really powerfully. And so there aren't any other organizations that are doing that right now. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of organizations in Kansas that are wonderful, who mostly work through like lawsuits or campaigns around a specific piece of legislation or candidate. There are, organizations doing good work, but nobody's doing anything year round all the time. And also nobody is organizing with an eye toward getting people to run for office themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vetting and developing candidates is always the biggest part of the piece of the pie.
For sure.
So
Absolutely.
Would you ever run for office?
Yeah. Yeah, I plan on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the state level, at the local level?
At the state level.
Okay.
So I was the lobbyist for Planned Parenthood for a while. And it was like an honor to be that lobbyist. And also tremendously difficult. And it made me realize what a difference even having like one person who's willing to speak truth to power, or one person who's willing to be a safe space in the state house can make. And also how important it is to keep the gross misogyny and racism in the state house in check.
Yeah.
Now, there are people doing that really well right now. The Lawrence delegation is phenomenal. Like they are, especially our new legislators, are brilliant and super progressive and effective, and are not afraid to tell the truth about what's happening in that building. And I think I'd like to join them someday. Not right now.
Amazing.
Right now I've got an organization to run, but that's definitely in the cards in the future.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So where can people find you, and how can people get involved with Kansas for All?
For sure. KansasForAll.org.
Is it FOR or the number 4?
Ooh, crucial question. FOR.
Okay.
FOR, yeah. I am at Elise Higgins. And we will be launching our Kansas for All social media so soon.
Okay.
So I will send that to you.
Okay.
And maybe, very soon. And then maybe you can link to it, in the episode notes or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah.
And so for people that want to get involved, what is the main thing or the main things that you need right now?
Right. So we need people who are willing to talk to their friends and family about the election that's coming up. And we need folks who are like willing to learn how to do things like go door-to-door canvassing and get their friends activated and engaged on these issues. And in particular, we need folks who are willing to do canvassing that might feel uncomfortable, but that is actually the most powerful way that we know how to change hearts and minds.
Mm-hmm.
And it involves asking people what they care about, what they're worried about, and then relating to that, and then asking them to join our work. So that is, it's a challenge. But if it were easy, we would have already won.
Sure.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's called deep canvassing. And not a lot of people are doing it because it's time intensive.
Mm-hmm.
But we believe in it so strongly. We've already recruited new members of the organization in Lawrence. And I think we can do it all over the state. Mm-hmm. And I think that we can win the fight on public education.
Yeah.
If we are willing to really invest the time in organizing ourselves and each other and getting to know people in our community, and helping them to see that what we need is interconnected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that our interests really align at having like good public schools, at making it easier to raise kids in, you know, a safe and healthy environment, and having access to healthcare. Like, you know, no matter what political labels you put on it, and we are a nonpartisan organization, so we're not like part of the Democratic Party. So no matter what labels you put on it, we have the same basic needs, and we're not being served by our legislature right now.
Yeah.
But we can do better.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that at least in my like kind of social circles, but I think this is general and nationwide, it is hard to stay optimistic.
For sure.
So how do you stay optimistic, and how does Kansas for All promote optimism among its members from, you know, just a little fledgling organization?
Yes,
you know?
Yes. I mean, I believe in my friends. They're so fucking wonderful. You know what I mean? Like, I used to be a real kind of like liberal white feminist guy. And then my friend Sam, who you know, asked me, like, is it more important that, for example, Hillary Clinton be a woman in office, or that we have policies that help the majority of people? You know what I mean? And I was able to completely change my mind. My politics used to be very like individualistic and focused on just abortion, maybe with a hint of sex ed. But I've changed. And if I can, then we all can. You know, people can transform every day. And we've already seen that happen among folks who are involved with the organization. And people are also really hungry for this work.
Yeah.
We've gotten a pretty significant amount of grant funding just in the first few weeks of me really working full time. I mean, we've all been kind of working behind the scenes on this stuff for years. But when we officially launched, people wanted to fund us. This work is not happening right now. And people think that it is possible to transform our state through organizing, and they're investing in it. And that makes me feel really hopeful too.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking with me.
It was a joy.
And one more time, Kansas for All, FOR.
Yes.
.org. Get involved. If you have money, send it our way.
Please.
But time is even more valuable
That's right.
than money in grassroots work.
That's
so
That's right.
Well, thank you
You're
for
so
everything
welcome.
you're doing.
Yes.
And
can I say a legal disclaimer thing really quick? So kansasforall.org is a traditional nonprofit. And that means right now that we can't tell people to vote yes or vote no.
Okay.
But we have another kind of sister organization called Kansas for All Action that can say that.
Okay.
So I want to just name that, like, when I tell you how bad this amendment is, I'm wearing my Kansas for All Action hat.
Okay.
Just to cover our bases, because you know Sam is our attorney, and he would not want us to sort of get it twisted. Yeah. So anyway.
Kansas for All Action.
Yes.
Doing business as.
And the auspices of.
Perfect. Sure. All right. Well, thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate you.